Hello, my name is Morris Villaroel, and I'm one of the teachers of this course. In Module 1, you learn some basics about aquaponics and its different components, and in this module, we're going to provide you with more details about fish and how we feed them and how that affects water quality. It's important to feed fish properly, or else they simply won't grow. But fish feeds are also very important for two other reasons. Number one, their cost. They represent one of the main costs in aquaculture production, normally about 50% of the running costs. And number two, the waste that they produce. The fish excrete waste into the recirculating water, and the amount and quality of that waste depends on the feed. In the first module, I will give a general introduction to feeding, what species we use in aquaponics, how feed is provided, and how waste is normally treated. Next, we'll mention some of the advantages of using fish as compared to terrestrial animals, and what that means for energy requirements in the feed. Next, we will mention some abiotic and biotic factors that affect how much fish eat. And finally, we'll go into some details about the proximate composition of feeds, that is, what are the basic components in the fish feed, including protein, fats, and minerals. In subsection 5, we'll briefly mention a bit about the history of feeding fish in order to provide some context when talking about the new feeds. This is a picture of a monastery in Spain called the Monasterio de Piedra, or Stone Monastery, one of the first fish farms in the Iberian Peninsula. It began in 1866. And then we provide a bit more detail about different feeding strategies and how commercial producers tend to measure fish growth. In sections 2.7 and 2.8, we explain more technical aspects of how feed is provided to the fish and the importance of monitoring, which you'll also hear about more in subsequent modules. Here we just give a hint about important things to monitor. In the last section, section 2.9, we describe in more detail the link between fish feed and fish waste. To do this, we use one of the most important waste products, which is nitrogen. Fish will excrete nitrogen waste as ammonia, which is converted almost immediately into ammonium in water. In mature aquaponic systems, biofilters are set up to use this ammonium to make nitrite and nitrate via the process of nitrification. It is this nitrate that plants can use to grow. During this course, you will not have the time or the resources to formulate your own feed, but using the calculations in this section, you can get an idea about the amount of nitrogen available to plants based on the protein found in the fish feed. In this module, you're asked to complete 6 activities which are aimed at getting to familiarize yourself with fish feeds in general, and specific sections of the text that will come up in the final quiz. We first ask you to find pictures of fish feeding and post them on Flickr, to which a link is provided. If you don't have an account, just sign up. Next, we ask you to discuss online what would make a sustainable feed. Just tell us your thoughts. Next, we ask you to search the web or scientific literature to see what kinds of minerals are incorporated into fish feeds and at what concentrations. This is quite important since some of those minerals will be diluted into the water and can be used by plants later on. Next, we ask you to provide a definition of a type of feed, since there are many types and formats. Next, we ask you to use Digo, a website to save internet links, to do some social bookmarking. Some explanation on how to use Digo has been provided in the general introductory text. First, you'll need to open an account and then join the group. Finally, you're asked to think about how much feed is needed to feed a group of fish in aquaponics. This is the last activity, and we use the workshop task in Moodle. Later on in the course, you'll be running an aquaponics system, and it's a good idea to know how much protein in the feed will end up as ammonia in the water. This task will take some time, and you also need to comment on work done by colleagues. Finally, after finishing all of the above, you'll be given access to a quiz with 10 multiple test questions. If you have any questions, just write me at morris.villaruel@upm.es. I hope you enjoy the module, and good luck!